Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Green Bay Packers all-time leading rusher, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Joined alongside Tim in Green Bay. I'm in Tennessee, here to talk a little Packers Panthers tonight. We're going to hit the Chalktalk from that game. I think we got 13 plays keyed up. It's going to be an absolute blast. We got some good, we got some bad. We're going to explain exactly what happened in that game, what went wrong, and just really it came down to a handful of plays that went against the Packers that cost them that game up there in Lambeau Field. Also, we're going to cover an update on Asante Samuel Jr., as well as we're going to take a first look at Packers-Eagles and talk about where each team sits in the important rankings, offensively, defensively, turnover margin, things like that, and give you guys kind of an idea of where that sits. So before we do that, if you guys would, let's do that YouTube stuff. Hit like for us, hit subscribe. If this is your first time tuning into PTA, welcome. Thank you for making us part of your evening. We're not experts. We're not insiders. We're not media members. We're fans just like you talking Packers on the daily. So if you're looking for that type of content, no BS, just in here, cutting up, having a good time, and talking about what's actually happening on the field. Make sure you hit subscribe and click that bell icon so you're notified when we go live in the future. I want to say this. We had 23,000 returning viewers last week in the last 7 days, and our subs are at like 6,500 or something like that, right? We're closing in on, I believe. Actually 6,600. I apologize. So what we've got is a bunch of people that are returning to the channel. I think we're averaging about the last 28 days, 295,000 views on the channel, but we got a lot of people that aren't subbed. Listen, I do the same thing. I've got a bunch of content that I watch on YouTube, and I always forget to subscribe. So if you guys would just take a quick second and hit subscribe for us. Usually if you watch the same show every night anyway, it's going to pop up on the algorithm, pop up on your homepage. But if you guys would hit that, that helps us tremendously. So appreciate everybody in the chat. I see it's already filling up. Tim, how you doing, Bubba?
Ready to talk some ball, baby.
Oh yeah, man, it's gonna be a good show, man. I'm excited about this. We may have the other guys join us shortly. I know they've been really busy here lately. So let's dive into this Asante Samuel story real quick, Tim, if that's all right with you, man. Let's hit it right off the bat. So Asante Samuel Jr., as we expected, we've been talking about the last few days, he's starting to garner a lot of interest from several teams across the league. I know there's some Packer fans that they're not interested. Hey, we don't need him. I don't want him. What we seen when he was healthy was an ascending player. We got seen a guy's PFF grades improved every year. He got better every year up until he had to have the neck fusion. It seems like he's checking out really, really well. But our buddy Easton Butler's been all over this back several weeks, right? He said workout Thursday or Friday, as he quote tweeted himself. The Packers are scheduling to work out cornerback Asante Samuel Jr., and if all goes well, they will seriously look into signing the cornerback. That was per a source by Easton Butler. And then this all gets kind of confirmed. Everybody was rolling their eyes before, and now all of a sudden, bang, here's Ian Rappaport. It'll be busy couple weeks for Asante Samuel Jr. He's visiting the Panthers today. After that, it's the Packers Thursday, Vikings Friday, 49ers Monday, Bears Tuesday, and Steelers Wednesday. A thorough, methodical process. And he obviously quote tweeted himself, Chargers free agent cornerback Asante Samuel, who had a spinal fusion procedure this offseason, was fully cleared to return to the NFL by respected doctors David Okonkwo, I think is how you say it, and Nick Theodore, in a letter agent Traven Smith presented to the NFL team. So the point here, guys, there is fire behind this smoke. The problem is exactly what we kind of led off with, Tim. We knew there was going to be several people interested. And listen, maybe a couple of these team doctors take a look at him and they don't feel comfortable signing him, right? The Packers may be one of those teams that don't feel comfortable signing him. But you're looking at now, Tim, it looks like 6 teams, and 2 of which are also in the NFC North there, with the Packers being the Vikings and the Bears. So just wanted to kind of give everybody an update on that. How do you feel about it, Tim? I kind of feel like it's going to cause a little bit of a bidding war on the guaranteed money. And if I was Green Bay, I would not overpay. You're not overpaying for great here, right? You'd be overpaying for potential to be great. But as it sits right now, I think he was in the category when he was healthy of a good cornerback, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, we could use a good corner, right?
Everybody, yeah.
For depth, and you got to understand. I mean, Asante Samuel Jr. hasn't played football in a while, so you talk about a guy who's going to have to get reacclimated to game speed. It shouldn't take him too long, but to think that he's going to sign with any of these teams and just come in and immediately start and immediately play, I think is something that might take a few weeks. But that being said, I'd like to snag him before the Vikings or the Bears get him, I guess. The fanboy feels that way. Plus, the connection from his time in LA with Coach DA. Coach Ansley was out there with the Chargers. So Asante Samuel Jr. has a little bit of a relationship there, so that may make things interesting throughout the process. But I think your point is very, very valid. It all depends on what the team doctors say and how they react to the workout and what they're seeing there. So there's a lot of variables, but it makes for an interesting weekend, considering we got to wait till Monday night for some Packer football. At least we'll have some Asante Samuel Jr. rumors for the next few days, right?
Yeah, definitely. Dead Fish in the chat says that would be okay at a decent price. I completely agree. That's what it's all going to come down to. Dead Fish is like, what is that cost going to be there? Now, I know there's some people that think, Green Bay is in dire need of a cornerback right now. I got to be honest. I don't understand where they're coming from with that. I think they remember the worst plays of a game and think, oh gosh, that's who we are. And that's just simply, it's really not the case. I mean, the reality is in yards per pass attempt, the Packers are first in the NFL, guys. Now, again, it doesn't mean you don't have room on a roster for a good young player, especially one that's ascending, right? You're always looking to get better, especially in the future. And you got to kind of, when we talk about modeling the roster, we talk about that all the time. That's not a term I came up with. That's a Bill Walsh term. When you model your roster, you're projecting 2, 3, 4 years down the road. Where do we want this thing to be? Where are we at now? Where do we want the roster to be? The skeleton, the bones of the whole outfit, if you will. And I think you're always looking for a great young player, a good young player that could potentially be great for sure. So that's why I see a lot of people, a lot of differing opinions in here, and that's what we always welcome. I love it, man. Let's see. Let's go to a couple of them real quick before we move on. Tim J. Cole says Clayton would disagree, but I think corner is at the top of the lost this offseason next to center and defensive tackle. I can agree to disagree there, Jay, man, for sure. When you lose Jair, I know many people, and I'm assuming that's what you're talking about. When you lose Jair on the surface, you think, man, we lost a great player. Jair hadn't been healthy and he hadn't been great for a while. If you can go back and look at what happened in Philadelphia last year, week 1, he got cooked, by A.J. Brown. There was another game later in the year that when he was back on the field, he struggled. I mean, the other reality is, and you guys know I wanted him back for the price that Baltimore gave him the money. I wanted Jair back. But because it was, pennies on the dollar essentially. But I mean, now we're being proven right or Goody's being proven right. That was the right move. Right now he's going to Philly and we'll see if he can stay healthy there. He's been battling the knee all year long. But in terms of what we lost there, Jay, if I was looking up in the team defense numbers in terms of passing was, let's say we were 20th, 23rd, something like that, I'd be like, okay, yeah, we need to be a little more aggressive at going and getting a corner because things aren't working. But right now, things are working in the passing game. I mean, we've got a really, really solid. I mean, just numbers wise, it is what it is. Whether we think it looks good enough or that's just like on offense. There's some people that think our offense is cheeks, and it's just not the case. Our passing game is third best in the league. We'll talk about all that here in a second before we get into Chalk Talk. But let's see what else we got here. Joseph in the chat says trenches. Yeah, that's the thing I'm looking at here is, to me, the biggest need is offensive line. That's where we're struggling. We're struggling to run the football. And God love Matt LaFleur. He's trying everything in the running game. He's trying to, have a bunch of motion. We're trying to run duo. He ran a little pin and pull. That'll make Chalk Talk. I'll show you guys where the play where we had, I think, an 18-yarder that opens up Chalk Talk, as a matter of fact. That was a GT counter pin and pull play. The only thing he's not doing is outside zone, and I really wish he would try that a little bit. But, Tim, you remember after this Philly game, in the playoffs, we immediately said, okay, we got bullied up front. It just took one injury and the offensive line fell apart. and we're going to have to get bigger and we're going to have to run the football, right? And
Yep.
then in the offseason, that's essentially what they did, right? They went and got Aaron Banks. Obviously, you had Jordan Morgan that you drafted in the first round last year, and then you go in the second round, you get Anthony Belton, but Anthony Belton's battled injuries. God love Jordan Morgan, been bouncing all over the offensive line since he got to Green Bay, right? And Aaron Banks has been hurt the entire time. He ended up playing 8 or 9 snaps this past game. So I agree with Joseph. If you guys know how I felt about Quinnen Williams, that was one of the few players at the trade deadline. Like, man, if you could somehow pull that off, great. But obviously, he wasn't going to be able to do it. Seeing that you just gave all the draft capital for Micah Parsons is going to be an uphill battle. But how do you feel about that? What Joseph says here, Tim, in the trenches, do you think that's the biggest need, or maybe you agree with some of the people in the chat that corner is a bigger need?
Oh no, I will not say corner is a bigger need, not yet at least. But definitely trenches. I'm with you. Offensive line, hell, defensive line too. We could use another big hog molly in the middle there. So I think trenches is a good way to go, and especially on the offensive side of the ball, it explains Matt's maybe hesitancy to get a little different looks when it comes to how we're trying to run the ball, and it could be due to this, lack of available personnel on a consistent basis. It's hard to get, any kind of rhythm going when guys are getting moved around a lot. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, Joseph also asked, am I wrong for wanting to see better usage of Edgerrin Cooper by Hafley when the front four ain't getting home? I don't want to be the one to say you're wrong. Who knows if my opinion is correct and yours is right. But I always look at it from a global standpoint, Joseph. I look at it like, okay, where are we ranking defensive wise? When you go and watch the tape as well, you kind of marry those two things up and you look and go, okay, why did we lose this game to Carolina? If you had to ask yourself, why did you lose this game to Carolina? What would the answer be? Well, they ran the football effectively. We needed to be better at stopping the run, which we're way better in the rankings at stopping the run. So now you got to dig a layer deeper and go, okay, why did we struggle against the run? Well, we're going to show you on Chalktalk 2 or 3 plays where you go, oh, that's what happened to the run defense. And I'll be honest with you, it's just execution. You had the proper resources allocated in the right spot. You had a spur safety in the box. You had multiple bodies. I'm going to show you a play with Javon Bullard, and we've all said Javon Bullard's played great against the run this year. He had a bad one, and it was arguably the most important run that we gave up last Sunday. So, again, it's not to try to bury Javon Bullard or any of the other players. It's not to try to harp on the negative. The whole point of Chalk Talk, win, lose, or tie in the Dallas Cowboys case, game case, the goal is to learn what actually happened, whether I want to agree with it, whether it pisses me off or not. The goal is, hey, let's try to figure out exactly what happened. So we'll dive into all that as well. But yeah, in terms of am I wrong for wanting to see better usage of Cooper? I think Cooper's being used properly, personally. I know the numbers aren't as pretty as they were last year, but we ran a whole lot of more simulated pressures last year. And people were worried about the pass rush from the Carolina Panther game, Tim. But if you'll remember leading up to the game, what did I say? Guys, don't be surprised if there's not a bunch of sacks, because they're going to be bringing a cage rush on Bryce Young. They're going to want to keep him in the pocket and throw from in the well. They did that, and what ended up happening? He ends up throwing an interception, and he barely passed for over 100 yards. So, again, it was the run game that ended up hurting you. But would you like to add anything to that, what Joseph said here, man?
No, I mean, it's, better usage. I don't know. I don't know what that means, because I feel like Coop's been used pretty much as good as we can use a versatile player like that with the talent that we have. So I'm trusting Hafley at this point in the process. And, I think we'll see an improvement, especially against the run fits. Yeah.
And, the other thing too, is like, if you're referring, Joseph, to blitzing Cooper, we showed yesterday on the show last night, we showed a specific play where Jeff Hafley got really creative and he ended up bringing Micah on a mock fire. And then the wheel was a scrape. It was a 56 scrape. It was essentially Edgerrin Cooper scraping off of that. That whole play design is for Cooper to hit home. It's let the attention go to Micah, let him go first. It works almost like a TT stunt in the middle of the defense, and then have him rush off of his hip. It was set up perfect, but Rico Dowdle came over and smacked Edgerrin Cooper right in the mouth. And that's not the dog Coop. It's a hell of a block by Dowdle. Gave just enough time for that ball to get out. But, again, it was considered a pressure because of the GPS tracking and how close he got to Bryce Young. and that ended up being an interception. Whether you think it was a bad throw or a miscommunication or what have you, the reality is the pressure led to a pick. So I try not to dig too deep into that stuff. That makes sense. Like J. Cole said, though, Tim, that was a hell of a block by Dowdle. It was heck.
Well, yeah, it saved Bryce Young's life probably.
Yeah,
right. Another half a step. I think Edge Coop gets home there and gets a sack for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So let us know, guys, if you're watching this video back later, let us know in the comments what you think about Asante Samuel Jr. Obviously, the price for every team that enters the sweepstakes there, the price is going to go up a little bit more. How aggressive would you be going after Asante Samuel Jr.? Maybe you think they shouldn't even be wasting their time with it. We don't need him. Maybe you think, hey, throw the bag at him because he showed enough when he was on the field that he was going to be a great cornerback in the NFL. So let us know in the comments, and also hit subscribe, click that bell icon so you're notified when we go live here in the future. All right. Let's shift gears here, Tim. I want to talk just a little bit about this Philadelphia Eagles matchup, and then we'll jump into Chalk Talk. So here's what I wanted to hit on, guys. Everybody's treating this Philly game like the Packers are just going to get boat raced, right? Just like everybody was treating the Panthers game like the Packers were going to boat race the Panthers. This is the National Football League, man. It's all about matchups. It's about how does this team match up against this team? How do their Tuesday players match up against how you're going to defend or block their Tuesday players, right? And just on the surface, I thought before we get into the game plan later on in the week, why don't we dive into just some very surface level stuff? Let's talk about rankings, okay? So coming into this game, this is the first look at the Packers versus the Eagles. Let's start on offense. Scoring offense, points per play, the Philadelphia Eagles rank 6th. The Green Bay Packers rank 10th. So you're talking about two top 10 offenses in scoring, right? In the running game, you got the Philadelphia Eagles ranking 20th, which is really, really odd. Now, last week they put it together, if you'll remember, right? They had a very, very good game running the football. I'm going to pull off to the side here real quick and just see, because I want to see how many yards they averaged per attempt last week. So Philadelphia, on the season, Tim, they're 20th at 4.1 yards per rush. Last week, they were 5.2 yards per rush. And I'm sorry, that was the last three. The last game, they averaged 8.4 yards per rush. So I know Green Bay has a much better defense, and obviously the team, a run defense than the team that they played last week. I don't even care who it is because Green Bay's ranking top 3, pretty much all year. But essentially in the running game, Tim, Philly has the slight edge ranking 20th and Green Bay sitting at 23rd. And I don't know if this is the week that you're going to try to really press in and get the run game going. To me, as we get into the defensive side here in a minute, we'll talk about it. I think passing the ball is probably your best bet in trying to jump out to an early lead against Philly. But what do you think about our rushing game against their rushing game? I know they're not going to be on the same field at the same time, but I like to kind of look at the running game comparison. It's pretty neck and neck there, 20th and 23rd.
It sure is, and I'm trying not to get ahead of us and ahead of myself by looking down at our rushing defense against their rushing offense, because that's really where you want to draw the comparisons. But I think there's some truth in what you're saying, is that it's a game to sit here and try to force the issue with the run. Maybe you pass to open up the run against Philly. Just that initial breakdown here, but it is interesting to see how truly closely matched up these two teams really are when you kind of look at these metrics.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to try to get the background music going. It cut you out just now, but I'm going to try it, and you tell me, let me know if it cuts me out, Tim, because I'm just give a little bit of something in the background for everybody as we go through this information. So, passing game. All right. Green Bay is ranked 3rd in yards per pass attempt. The Philadelphia Eagles are 7th. So I know many people like to look at Jalen Hurts like he's just kind of a gimmick quarterback. He can't throw the football far. Could be the farthest thing from the truth, man. Philly ranked 7th. Green Bay ranked 3rd. And again, that's why we were very vocal during the week when people were trying to rake Matt LaFleur over the coals like he's not a good play caller. He's not a good play designer. Like, you're a top 3 passing offense in yards per pass attempt. If the argument is I want him to pass the ball more, okay, cool. That can always be an argument, obviously. Me personally, I would rather you continue to try to get the run game going. And then I think that's why the passing game has been so effective, is because teams are really keying in on stopping the Packers' run. They're loading the box against Josh Jacobs. That's why you're 23rd in rushing. But I think it has a lot to do with why Green Bay is 3rd in passing. So in terms of our offense passing game against their offensive passing game, Tim, we're 3rd, they're 7th. This you're already noticing this looked like this might be a tight game here, man.
Oh yeah, I think we're in for a nail biter. I really do. Monday Night Football under the lights. It's going to be crisp and chilly. You got two teams, really fighting for those, to remain on top in the NFC, evenly matched up. I mean, pretty close within most of these categories. This will definitely be any given Sunday, aka any given Monday type of game. I don't think we're going to see a boat race in either direction.
Right.
I don't know what we'll get into the numbers later, but I want to say less than a touchdown besides this game, probably.
I could see that. I mean, that's what was last time too, if I remember correctly. Not in the playoffs, but down there in Brazil. And the Packers, I feel like, are much healthier outside of Tucker Kraft, obviously missing the next game, than they were in the playoff game. A lot more banged up. You didn't have Christian Watson, and so on and so forth. So essentially, what you got, guys. Again, just a recap on offense. Scoring wise, Philadelphia ranked 6th, Green Bay 10th. Rushing wise, the Eagles ranked 20th, the Packers ranked 23rd, and then passing, the Packers ranked 3rd, Philadelphia Eagles ranked 7th. All right, so let's move along now to defense. So what we've got here is scoring defense. All right, this is points per play. Green Bay is 8th in the league. Philadelphia is 14th. All right, rushing defense. The Packers have the 9th best run defense now. Philadelphia has the 19th best run defense. So Green Bay has now sank to 9th out of that top 3 spot, but still a legit top 10 run defense. And then in passing defense, yards per pass attempt, the Packers are 1st. Philadelphia is 12th. So what you see here on defense, Tim, it doesn't mean it's gonna happen on Monday night. There's no guarantees, but in terms of where we're at going into Week 9, the Packers have the better defense in all three aspects: scoring, rushing, and passing the football, or stopping the pass, I should say.
Yeah, so there's every reason to believe we have every opportunity and chance to beat Philly. We can talk about how this team looked against Carolina. We're gonna break down some tape here in a little bit. But if you are nervous or afraid or scared of the Eagles coming in at 1265, I beg you to watch some tape and look at these two teams. I think you're going to see a slugfest in this one. Very, very evenly matched. Going to be a close game for sure.
Yeah, and then of course turnover margin is probably the most important aspect. You guys know how I feel about this. Turnover margin is simply how many times do you take the ball away as opposed to give the ball away, right? So you're coming out in the positive in terms of a +1 turnover margin means maybe you turned the ball over once, they turned it over twice, right? You took the ball away from them twice, they only took it away from you once. So you're getting that extra possession. It's absolutely huge in deciding a game. Philadelphia is 8th in turnover margin. The Packers are 14th, so they have the edge there, which is the most important metric, I think, outside of scoring. So if you take the two most important ones there, Tim, in scoring, Philadelphia 6th, the Packers 10th. In turnover margin, the Philadelphia Eagles 8th, the Packers 14th. That would, if I was creating the point spread, what am I trying to say here? The odds in the game, I would definitely have the Philadelphia Eagles as favorites by default. And then, of course, you go into Lambeau Field and give them 1.5 to 3 points favorites to the home team. So let's say, you got it set at Philly or 4-point favorites, right? Well, it's being played in Green Bay, so you probably set the line at 1 or 1.5, if that makes sense. So that's how that lines up. Now, when you take everything into consideration, what we gave you guys were 7 rankings: offensive scoring, rushing, and passing, defensive scoring, rushing, and passing, and turnover margin. The Packers have 4 of those that they're leading in. The Philadelphia Eagles are leading in 3. With worth mentioning, the two most important metrics of offensive scoring and turnover margin both go to Philly's side. So this, I think, is going to be a hell of a ball game, and I'm really excited to see. Are the Packers a great team, or are they just a good team? A good team, you go make the playoffs, you can get hot, go on a run and potentially win the whole thing, right? Yep. Great team, you're going to look to try to pull away a little bit. And this remaining schedule, it gets tough, man. We're going to find out a lot about this Green Bay team in the next few weeks.
Yeah, I mean, starting on Monday night, right? It's going to be a really good test here, and we're really going to know a lot more about this Packers team and who they are. And I'm hoping that they are who I think they are and who I believe they are. And they're going to handle business. Coach Len was saying in the chat, I mean, it's pretty much a must-win. It could prove to be one of those must-win games when you look at the NFC playoff picture. going down towards, week 16, 17, 18 towards the end of the year. So, dropping that game to Carolina really stunk. But, if you can get back on track with a win against the Eagles at home, I think we're feeling pretty damn good about our chances this year.
Yeah. As Joseph says in the chat, in my opinion, we are a good team. That's where I'm at right now, too, Joseph. I think we're a good team, potentially stepping into being a great team, right? And if you beat the Eagles on Monday night and you do it in, pretty decent fashion, I feel really comfortable saying, no, the Packers are a great team. Well, we got Emilio joining us now. Emilio, just a quick recap. All we did was talked about the rankings a little bit, just a little preview of this Philadelphia matchup. I mean, just give you the rundown. Scoring, offense, Packers are 10th in the league, Philly's 6th. Running the ball, Philly's 20th, the Packers are 23rd. Passing the ball, Green Bay's 3rd, Philadelphia's 7th. Defensive scoring, Green Bay's 8th, Philadelphia's 14th. Rushing defense, Green Bay's 9th, Philadelphia's 19th. Passing defense, Green Bay's 1st, Philadelphia's 12th. They're 8th in turnover margin, and Green Bay's 14th in turnover margin. So essentially, Green Bay's got the edge 4-3 in these important categories. However, the two most important, like I was just telling Tim, turnover margin, Philly's better, scoring, Philly's better. So pretty healthy ball game. And how do you see this game here with the Eagles right off the bat?
Yeah, turnover there would be key, right? Whatever you do, you got to protect the rock. You got to be able to punch it in. I'd love to see red zone efficiency too. Maybe we can dive into that in the game plan just to take a peek. That's where we stalled out this past week. Is that something that's a factor? Normally, I don't think so, but I do think it's something you got to keep in mind. Yeah, it's going to be a battle. I was hearing Tim, one-score game for sure. And one of my best friends is an Eagles fan, so it's going to be a tough one. We'll be going at it a little bit pre-game.
That's right here. Not to cut you off, but this is the statistic is NFL team red zone scoring percentage. Touchdowns only, okay? Touchdowns only. Philadelphia leads the league at 85%. Green Bay is 11th at 62%.
That's just another make that 4-4. So this is going to be a battle. It really is. And you're getting a little bit from Micah, who's seen them regularly. He knows what to expect from them. Maybe that helps on the D-line, cool. But it's also the boogeyman that got us twice last year. And it's something that, like you said, is going to tell the tale of what this team is, where they can go. But I was listening to Unscripted, and I think it was Wes saying it. He was just like, yeah, so you played Carolina, okay, but Tuesday, Monday came around, you have to pay attention to the Eagles. You play the Eagles on Monday. What the most important thing moving on after that Eagles game, no matter what happens, win, loss, draw, whatever, is the Giants that next week. Like there's no stopping. It's not like you can pause time and just be yelling, just sit there and just yell at your screen because you're not happy. It's you got to keep moving. There's only so much time in a year. There's only so much time in the football season. And they got to make the most of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. Mike Berry says the point spread is Green Bay -2.5. The over is 44.5. And it looks like PFF has the same thing listed as the market number there. So the Packers are 2.5 point favorites at home. It is worth mentioning it's very, very early. But right now, in terms of the spread, 90% of the money is on the Eagles +2.5. And then 89% of the money is on the Eagles to win outright with the money line. So the Packers, the majority of the public's money is actually on the Eagles, both in the spread and the money line. That makes me feel good personally. And I always like it when the public is going against my team because typically, you hear it every week just about it. You look up at the end of the year, Vegas typically wins out, right? That's usually how it works. So one last thing before we dive into Chalk Talk. This is just a quick playoff probability, if you will. This was a tweet that was put out by PFF, and every site's a little bit different. This is the NFC playoff picture entering Week 10. The number 1 seed, 94% chance that the Eagles make the playoffs. The number 2 seed is the Buccaneers, 88% chance. Number 3 seed is the Seahawks with a 78% chance. Number 4 seed is your Green Bay Packers with a 79% chance of making the playoffs. The number 7 seed is the Lions at 69%. The number 6 seed is the 49ers at 85%, and the 5 seed is the Rams at 84%. So it's really, really interesting to see that the Packers 79%. Of course, they're in the lead right now. The Lions are sitting at 69%. So the Packers have a 10% higher chance of making the playoffs than the Lions. These NFC North matchups coming down the stretch is really what's going to decide this thing. It's absolutely awesome.
Yep. The scheduling committee knew what the hell they were doing when they set this one up, for sure.
They sure did, man. That's a fact. So, again, there
how expensive this game is in the look of, all right, yeah, you get one up on the Eagles. You already got one up on the 7th seed. You could get one up on the 1st seed. How important? Yeah, we lost to an NFC team. Okay, the other one was the Browns. All right, that was an AFC team. So it's like, are you happier? Would you be more upset if it was the Vikings that beat you? In the NFC North division opponent, like what happened to the Lions, or are we more upset outside of the division, one AFC, one NFC, and you have a shot to try to get yourself one up on the leader there?
Yeah, and for me, I always look at it this time of year. I just want to stamp a ticket to the dance. That's all I want.
Yep.
Give yourself an opportunity to win a championship. I try not to get too caught up in, man, I want to be the number 1 seed, or we need to do this. You want to – every game matters. Obviously, it sucks that you dropped a couple games you probably should have won because you could really be in the driver's seat right now. But that's the National Football League, man. It happens, So, all right, so there you go. There is just a little, like I said, a slight preview into Packers-Eagles. So – let us know if you're watching this video back later. Let us know in the comments what you think. Do you think that point spread is pretty fair? Just the Packers being 2.5-point favorites at home against the Eagles. How do you feel about the rankings? Do you think that those are pretty indicative of telling the story of how these two teams have played this year? Let us know in the comments. Hit subscribe. Click that bell icon so you're notified when we go live here in the future. Emilio, is there anything you want to hit? I think, Tim, you're good, right? We kind of talked already. We hit on everything. Is there anything you'd like to hit on, Emilio, before we dive into Chalk Talk, man?
No, not yet. Just because everything got pushed back a day, right, Coach?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So besides that, no, not much. There's, I'm hoping for a breakout game from Matthew Golden so that Bucky can win in his game with DJ, right? You gotta. It's just a lot out there, right? But no, I'm all set. I'm excited for some film.
Definitely. All right, let's dive into it, guys. So this is the Packers-Panthers Chalk Talk, all right? Now, if this is your first time tuning into Chalk Talk, this is where we go in and break down the most important plays from that game. So what we're essentially looking to do here, there's going to be plays that you don't see, right? We got it broken down to, I think, 13 or 14 plays. These are the ones that I felt like were most impactful, okay? So we try to cover these every week. If you're new here, this is just us, a way to kind of take those important plays and show what happened, why did it happen, as opposed to just going on Twitter or YouTube and go, fire this guy, fire that guy, this guy sucks. How about we slow down? Where are we ranked? Okay, we're first in the division. Got it. The 2 losses we lost by a total of 6 points. Got it. We've got the 3rd best passing offense in the league. Got it. We got the number 1 pass defense in the league. Last I checked, it's still a passing football league. We're in a good spot. Now, with that being said, rubber's about to hit the road, right? We're about to go into the stretch of the schedule where we're going to find out what this team's made of. So let's kind of see what happened here against the Carolina Panthers. All right, just some important statistics right off the bat. The Carolina Panthers won the middle 8, 7-3. They also won the turnover battle 2-1. Okay, obviously Jordan Love had an interception. Savion Williams had a fumble. And then we had the interception in the end zone, Xavier McKinney picking off Bryce Young. Guys, I'm very, very vocal about this. And I know people get tired of hearing me say it, but when you lose the middle 8 and you lose the turnover differential, you're going to lose that ball game. It's going to be, there is a slim chance for you to win that ball game if you lose both of those metrics.
You do that, you're going to get your ass kicked in that.
That's right. Let's jump into the first play here, guys. We have first quarter, 7:28 left. It's 0-0, 1st and 10 at Carolina's 34-yard line. This is the Josh Jacobs 18-yard run. Matt LaFleur got in his bag a little bit with this one, Emilio. Tim, this is kind of nice. We're going 12 ace dub nasty, all right? And what that means is you're going 1 running back, 2 tight ends, all right? Nasty split, everybody inside the numbers. That's why it's nasty. Those are called nasty splits, condensed sets, if you will, all right? So we're going 12 ace dub nasty. We're going to shift the Z to Trey Wright. What does that mean? Who's the Z, first of all, right? The Z is going to be on the tight end side of the field, the Y side of the field. This is your Y on the line. That's your U off the line. So with this being the Y, the Z will be off the line of scrimmage on the tight end side of the field. Some people say, no, the Z is always on the field side, the wide side of the field. I've always been taught the Z is on the Y side of the formation, okay? And the X is always on the line of scrimmage opposite the Y. That makes sense. So a lot of teams like to put the X to the boundary and then get your multiple targets on the field side. And the reason you do that is you want defenses to have to lean toward the field side and then isolate that boundary X position so you can kind of win in that phone booth, if you will. So again, we're going to shift now to what we call Trey right, which means you've got 3 guys on this side of the line of scrimmage now, one of which is a tight end, all right? That's Trey. If it was 3 wide receivers, it'd be trips. Now, the play call is 22 counter GT pin and pull, all right? What does that mean? 22 counter, a counter is, first of all, 22 is going to be A gap right, your even numbers to the right, okay? So it's designed to go to the A to B, essentially is what you're looking to do here. So with the 22 counter, what Josh Jacobs is going to do is have what we call counter footwork. Jab step here. You're going to see Jordan show the ball to that side, and then he's actually running this side. That's counter footwork, okay? So that's the counter aspect. GT pin and pull is really simple. These guys are going to pin, right, on the right side, and then you're going to have the G, the guard, pull, and the tackle, pull. That's what the GT stands for. So when we're going 22 counter, GT pin and pull, that's what we're talking about. Pin down, pull off of it, right? And you're going to try to spring Josh Jacobs. It's not blocked up really well, although I will say Aaron Banks does a great job on this rep, but Josh Jacobs just making guys miss. Let's watch it here. So you see the counter action. Again, if we were to rewind it, let's go 50% so y'all could truly see the counter footwork. Emilio, you tell me if you disagree here. See the jab, bang, we're coming back the opposite direction, right? And then you see the seal by Banks. It's a lot better when you can see from the end zone cam. We'll get to it in just a second, but beautiful run by Josh Jacobs, man. You turned almost nothing into an 18-yard gain here, man.
And you got to be able to run. I mean, just looking at that base they had there, just the 4 shell over the top. That's where we had to stick with the run. We got to be able to run on that kind of look.
Absolutely. Completely agree. Tim, we talked about it all week. They had the 24th best run defense. Let's stay with the run. Stay with the run. Kind of got away from it a little bit, but they did adjust there in the third quarter and really start to take that away. I think you were averaging 6 yards a carry in the first half. Second half, that dwindled. You were kind of forced to pass. But watch our boy Aaron Banks right here, guys. Watch Aaron Banks on this rep. This is solid. Look at that big hog molly. Bang.
Bang.
Right?
Love
now you
it.
got Sheed. Sheed's your lead blocker. If we rewind it again, watch the pin. Watch the right side. See on pin, pull, right? That's a pin and pull. 22 GT counter, pin and pull. And then look at Jacobs. He should have been down right there, right?
Yeah.
Look at our boy.
Great work by Sheed, though. I think he was one of the first off the snap, man, and then just got there looking for work.
Yeah, no, it's a good rep by Sheed for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Josh Jacobs, to your point. To me, I think, especially looking from this camera angle, that's a counter. That's just, Josh Jacobs' creative footwork counter. It doesn't look like the traditional counter looks you see sometimes, but it certainly got the momentum moving where we needed it to. And, guys sealed their blocks, and you see Josh doing what he does best.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
Just a nice little rep. Go ahead.
Yeah, I talk about building the wall all the time, man. That left side was just a wall up front, right? You had Musgrave sealing off the backside. You're having him one-on-one with the DN. That's huge. And then the counter conveniently went to, when we had the motion, they shifted the backers, but the line didn't shift. So you had the hat count on the line as well to counter side, which is just kind of a perfect, perfect storm right there. And Josh Jacobs hit it, made a man miss in the hole, and you're good.
Yeah. And, we always talk about if you hit an explosive plays are passing plays of 20 yards or more, running plays of 10 yards or more, right? So when you hit on an explosive play, it triples your chances of scoring on that drive. You're thinking, we're coming away with points here, baby. Unfortunately, this play happened, all right? This is the first turnover of the game. This is when you knew, damn, we're going to be in for a dogfight, boys. It's happening right now in front of us, right? First quarter, 6:42 left, still 0-0. First and 10 play from Carolina, 16-yard line. This is the Savion Williams fumble. Let's talk about what we're running here. 12 ace nasty, Trey left, okay? So, again, Trey left. You're going to have both tight ends and a receiver to the left. So it's a 3-by-1 set, nasty split. We already talked about what all that means. We're going to shift it to Okay. It's going to be to Trey Wright. So we're going to bring it over and go, okay, let's go Trey Wright. You see Carolina adjusting. Okay. So you broke the huddle, Trey left. You come out and go Trey Wright. And then before the ball's even snapped, you're going to tell the Z to go to twin left. All right. So this is Savion. So we're going to bring him twin left. And now the play call is it's going to be twin left, RPO 22 smoke. Okay. Now, if you want to say this is a bubble screen, great. I think it was probably supposed to be more of a dramatic bubble screen. That's why you see Matt LaFleur chewing Savion's ass out on the sideline, if you remember that. That and Savion tries to cut back inside. I think what you're designed to do here, first of all, with an RPO look, from under center, Jordan's going to make the decision if he's throwing the pass right now. In the gun set, when you run RPO, it's more of a ball in the belly, read it. You can flick it out last second. But when you're under center, you're making the decision right now on this RPO. So
not like Madden, right, Clay? You can't be in the sky cam and also have eyes in the back of your head and see the bubble on the left open up. Yeah.
It's called cheese. So if you go 22 RPO smoke, right, is what you're doing here, right? So you're looking to go RPO run pass option. You're going A gap right is what it's designed to do. But Jordan looks out here. Look where his head is right now. He's going, all right, what's our hat count look like? If this guy is going to swing out on the bubble, if Savion's going to swing out on the bubble, you've got a one-on-one hat count, right? So Savion, you like your chances of him running through a corner here, right?
Yeah.
So
rather than Josh running into an 8-man box.
Right. And that's exactly what you're seeing up here, right, Tim? That's why, you know what I mean? Look at this. It's a heavy box up here, right? So we're going to flick this thing out. Romeo, he does an okay job, but you see how it's more of a smoke, Emilio?
Yeah.
I kind of feel like maybe they were expecting it to go out a little bit wider, although Jordan did kind of throw it behind him a touch. But right here, Romeo, you can't chop down. You got to attack. You got to attack the corner right here. And see how he just kind of – it's almost like he's pass blocking, right? So Savion right here, again, with Savion, you got to know where your hat count is. There's the help, right? Get that thing out here, right? Yeah. Use the leverage. So both of them made a mistake. You see – Romeo is already kind of leaning back in his technique, right? You want him attacking right there. So there's part of the problem. So Romeo kind of gets blown back into Savion. Savion's chopping rather than getting out here. That makes sense?
Yeah.
So again, run into each other. And now right here, just go down. The play's over. Look at the hat count, guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's over. Now, the casual fan sees that in real time on the TV copy, and they go, I'm so sick of these screens. It was there. You had the hat count.
Yeah, that was the look you wanted.
His bad execution is what it was.
Yeah, and I think you're saying that Savion, maybe it wasn't just a step and catch. It was more of a bubble out, and he just didn't get wide enough.
Yep. Yeah, watch him here. It's not a smoke. If it was a smoke.
No, yeah, it's definitely not a smoke. But my thing, he was already a little confused off the beginning, right? When Jordan brought the double motion across, and then you bring him over.
Yep. Yeah, watch. This is what Emilio's talking about. So he's already kind of off tilt. Watch, Jordan's going to say, all right, come on, Savion. Get over here to twin left. What are you doing? It's almost like he was expecting to shift to Z or shift to the wing. And it's like, no, I need you over here. Now, people get mad at me when I say it's the youngest team in the league. Their typical response is, it's a young team with a lot of experience. How much experience does Savion got?
Yeah, this would be his, 7th game?
Right.
Most names I think he's ever had, too.
Right. So, again, that's what I mean by the youngest team. These are the mistakes that are going to be made, along with penalties, too. So, they have the youngest team in the league. So, again, that's what I think, Emilio, is just here, get out. Go. You know what I mean?
He should have been two more steps to the left at this point and catching it on the move.
Yep. And this corner, there's no way he's going to be able to tackle Savion. Worst case scenario, it's a 1st and 10 play. Savion's getting down to the 5. And this probably ends up turning into a touchdown a couple plays later, right?
I'd be calling that all day long. I'll be honest with
you.
Absolutely. I'd be running that. You got a dude 7 yards off, and then nobody moved when you brought him in motion. The corner moved down closer to your run, to the run fit. Like Tim said, bringing 8 into the box. That's take that bubble all day long. All day long.
I'll speed it up here a second. I like what Ed Madden said in the chat too, and everybody wants to blame LaFleur for the play call. It's easy. Somebody's got to get fired, Ed. That's the way the fan base works. So you got to fire somebody. One week it's Rich Bisaccia, the next week it's Jordan Love needs to be benched. The next week it's Matt LaFleur should be fired. Yeah, it's just bad execution, man.
Yep. Matt's standing right there too. I mean,
oh yeah,
look at him right there.
Yep.
He's like, what the hell was that?
Yeah, he didn't even know it was fumbled at that point. He was looking for the next play. Then he realized it. Then he started chewing.
You had a great point there about Savion, Clay, though, saying that, once you take that initial contact by basically running into your own blocker, you got to see where the pressure's coming. Do not cut it back in, and certainly get another damn hand on that football and secure that football, protect that football when you're in traffic like that. But again, he's a rookie. I guarantee you he's learning from this for sure.
Right.
You've seen a pre-snap mistake, right? Late over to a spot. You've seen a mistake on the route. Then he gets tackled, Emilio, with the ball on the inside hand.
Yeah.
Like, that's just –
And my thing would be, when would you rather have him make these mistakes?
Right.
Right now, or playoff time, week 17 when we need a win, whatever it is, I'd rather get those hiccups out. I mean, from now on, he's probably going to be like, Petey in replacements. You know what I mean? Carrying the football around everyone's going to try to swat it out, and that's just something that's going to be always in the back of his head, not to slow him down, but as a reminder, like, that thing is precious. You only get 7-10 opportunities a game. You got to make the most of them.
Yeah,
Coach Lynn with a good point. He's a returner.
Yep.
You should know better.
Yeah,
good
absolutely.
point.
True.
Yep. And you're talking about what they have 8 possessions. They had 8 possessions, and they scored 13 points. They didn't punt all day long.
They got in the red zone 5 times, right?
Right.
4 or 5 times. Yeah, you can't be having that.
Yeah, just can't have it. Bad execution. All right. So up next, this is second quarter, 13 minutes left, 0-0, 3rd and 6 play at Green Bay's 14-yard line. So even though that whole debacle happened on offense, your defense bails you out. This is the Xavier McKinney interception. The play call is nickel 4-2-5. We're going to go 55 cheetah, cover 1, Mike will fire 56 scrape. Okay. And what's really cool about this is, let me just draw out what it is. First of all, cheetah, when we say cheetah, it means one of the down linemen is actually an edge rusher. We're calling it 55 cheetah because that's Enigbare playing the cheetah spot. Okay. And then you go Mike will fire is real simple. Who's the Mike? Strong side of the formation right here. Right. So that's going to make Micah Parsons the Mike. Really, really interesting that you have Micah Parsons playing Mike. So you had Micah playing Mike. You had Edgerrin Cooper playing Will. And this is Quay Walker rushing off the edge. We talked about this a little bit last night on last night's show. I just wanted to show you guys on Chalktalk once again here. So again, it's cover 1 man. So you got 1 deep safety here, right? Which is Xavier McKinney. He can go in either direction, obviously. He's probably going to cheat to the field side, the big side of the field, right? And that's exactly where Bryce tries to go with the football. So with this fire, the Mike goes first, right? The Will is a 56 scrape. That's Edgerrin Cooper scraping off. You're going to notice Rico Dowdle, unfortunately, comes over and just cleans his clock, picks up a perfect block, gets the pass off, but, of course, it gets picked. Let's roll the tape here. Notice the scrape. See, Michael went first. Now look at the scrape there from Edgerrin Cooper. Looks like he's coming free. He's just going to blast Bryce Young, and look at Dowdle. Bang. Beautiful block by Dowdle, but the ball was picked off. Listen, it was a bad ball. I don't know if it's miscommunication. He was expecting his receiver to go inside, if it just got away from him or what. But the main thing I wanted to show on this interception is the creativity of Jeff Hafley. We've been showing 1D tackle inside in a 1 gap and then playing Joker 1 with Micah on his hip, right? Like kind of rushing off the top of him. So you've only had – it's really a 3-3-5 look with Micah playing stack backer, rushing from the Joker position. But here we went back to the traditional 2-4-5 nickel, right? And you put Micah at the Mike spot. I thought this was really interesting, man. I talked about it last night. It's the first time I've seen Jeff Hafley show this look with Quay rushing off the edge like that, opposite of Rashawn Gary. But I feel like, it worked. Cover 1 man, right? Look at the scrape. Micah's still beating his guy, and then he gets kind of washed out. But you can also tell with Micah, what he's doing here is if Bryce feels the pressure and tries to evade, watch Micah is going to engage, and he's kind of hopping out here to help spy a little bit. That's what we call somewhat of a cage rush. See him kind of getting out there a little bit. And notice Quay isn't pinning his ears back either. They know the goal is for this to happen, is for that guy, the 56 scrape, to hit home. So hold the edge in case he rolls out right. That makes sense. So.
It was open too. That scrape was, perfectly planned up. They just had the protection there. And like you said, great pickup by Dowell there. But Cover one, bring a blitz. That means you have trust in your corners and trust in your safety to get there.
Yeah, definitely.
Great awareness by X to run that down and get underneath it.
Yeah, because the ball was wobbling. It was weird. Because
it was a meatball. It was hanging up there for sure.
I honestly think the only thing I could come up with, either the ball slipped out of his hands, and listen, there wasn't enough air under the ball for the wind to affect it that much to make it wobble that way. I'm wondering is if he kind of rushed it out of there, bad mechanics, the ball came out weird because of the pressure from Edger and Cooper, if that makes sense. So. Yep. All right, next play.
Right in the chat says Gary getting clotheslined again. No big deal though.
Yeah,
nothing.
Don't get me started. Right? Please don't get me started. All right, let's go to a positive play. It's still 0-0. Second quarter, 12:08 left. 3rd and 12 play from Green Bay's own 18-yard line. This is Love to Watson for 52 yards. You guys know you hit on an explosive for 52 yards. It's going to triple your chances of scoring. This will actually lead to a Green Bay field goal to give them the early lead. The play call is 11 gun, Trey left. 586 Y leak T angle. Again, 11 gun, Trey left, 586 Y leak T angle. All right. And here is the play. Let's draw it out. First of all, the Trey left, you know what that means. We won't go through it again. The 586 is from the route tree, guys. 5 route, which is an out. Okay. The 6 route, which is a post. That's what our boy Christian Watson's running. And it's going to be a very skinny post too. He kind of breaks it off on down the field. And then you've got the dig on this side. Okay, so notice you've got an out beater, right? If you got inside leverage, you got a route that's going to beat that. You've got the post that's going to be your deep shot. You've got the dig that's going to be the in beater. And then with the T angle, he's going to run like this right here, okay? It's what we refer to as a Texas concept. If they had a tight end running down the seam with it, that's called Texas. So some people call this a V route out of the backfield. I've always known it as an angle route. And then, of course, you've got the T leak. He's just going to try to chip and get out here in the flat. So you've got options everywhere here. Again, it being a 3rd and 12 play, you know where this ball is going, boys, right here. We're going to heave this thing up to Christian Watson in double coverage and watch him bring this thing down. Protection was pretty good. Jordan slides up in the pocket, gets enough on it. And Christian Watson, man, what a hell of a catch, man. That is wild. Talk to me, boys. What are you seeing with this play here, man? I feel like it was a good throw by Jordan. I know some people were saying he underthrew him. If you throw that thing too deep and you overthrow him and that falls incomplete, that's another end of a drive. You don't get those 3 points there.
Yeah, great job by Watson adjusting his route there towards the end to stay in position to make that grab. You can see him kind of stutter his last couple of steps before he goes vertical.
So
right
smooth
there, and then just beautiful, body and space awareness, and give yourself a chance to make the play. I love it.
You know what it reminded me of, Tim, was our boy Richard Rodgers on the Hail Mary in Detroit.
Yeah.
Just kind of drifted.
Yep. And timed it. If he doesn't time that little jump he takes to go vertical, if you're off on that ball's picked probably in that scenario as well.
Yep. 2 hands and plucked it. Clay, can you pause it? That's at the start.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Just the looking at pre-snap you got the dig right there. That corner out the 30s kind of sitting inside shade, so you don't love that look right off the bat. The outside corner for your top out, he's outside leverage. Don't love that look right away. The Texas route, I'd probably peek that. That would be a shot, but you're really keying in on that safety on the near hash right here. What's he going to do at the snap? Is he buzzing down? Is he staying flat-footed? Is he dropping? And when he sees how flat, I think when Jordan sees how flat his foot are, and he was kind of shuffling horizontally and not backpedaling,
right there,
taking that post all day long.
Yeah. And Scoot runs right past his ass immediately too while he's doing that.
Yep.
You're exactly right, Emilio. He catches that safety flat-footed. He goes, "Oh crap!
Bye, see ya."
It's over. It's over. See, you're peeking that safety. He shuffles right 3 times. I love Christian Watson's odds there, because at that point you're going to get Romeo Doubs killed if you throw that dig, and right. you can't be having that. So why not give it to your speed guy, especially where we're at 3rd down? Jordan's got a great pocket. The well's there, and the dude right, outside leverage there.
Yep, ready to drive on that out if you try to hammer that there. So Jordan reads it perfect, man. He does, and he throws a good ball here too. He really does. So again, we'll watch it now from the end zone cam, man. I love the way this catch looks from Christian Watson. I tried to zoom in a little bit too, because this is a huge play. Again, this is what gave Green Bay the early lead. Love how Jordan just loads it up too, reading the safety. Oh yeah, we got it. This is us. Wham! Let that thing go. I mean, just a heck of a catch, boys.
Yeah.
Heck of a
And
catch.
that's a pass and a completion when he has time, right? That's when look at that offensive line. I mean, he had a half a arc and then it started closing in and then he had the well. He dropped all the way back and stepped up into this.